Gently close your eyes. Do deep breathing. We will chant Om once together. Synchronize the chanting of Om with your exhalation. Breathe in. Sahana vavatu, sahanau bhunaktu, sahaviryam karavavahai, tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Gently open your eyes. We will chant from verses 68 to 72 of chapter 2. Tasmadhyasya mahabaho,
Tasmadhyasya mahabaho,
nigrihitani sarvashah,
nigrihitani sarvashah,
indriyani-indriyarthebhyah,
indriyani-indriyarthebhyah,
tasya prajna pratisthita,
tasya prajna pratisthita,
ya nisha sarvabhutanam,
ya nisha sarvabhutanam,
tasyam jagati sanyami,
tasyam jagarti sanyami,
yasyam jagrati bhutani,
yasyam jagrati bhutani,
sa nisha pashyato muneः,
sa nisha pashyato muneः,
आपूर्यमाणमचल pratishtham,
आपूर्यमाणमचल प्रतिष्ठम्,
samudramapah pravishanti yadvat,
समुद्रमापः प्रविशन्ति यद्वत्,
tadvat कामायं प्रविशन्ति सर्वे,
तद्वत् कामायं प्रविशन्ति सर्वे,
स शान्तिमाप्नोति न कामकामी,
स शान्तिमाप्नोति न कामकामी,
विहाय कामान् यः सर्वान्,
विहाय कामान्यः सर्वान्,
पुमांश्चरति निःस्पृहः,
पुमांश्चरति निःस्पृहः,
निर्ममो निरहङ्कारः
निर्ममो निरहङ्कारः
स शान्तिमधिगच्छति
स शान्तिमधिगच्छति
एषा ब्राह्मी स्थितिः पार्थ
एषा ब्राह्मी स्थितिः पार्थ
नैनां प्राप्य विमुह्यति
नैनां प्राप्य विमुह्यति
स्थित्वा स्यामन्तकालेऽपि
स्थित्वा स्यामन्तकालेऽपि
ब्रह्मनिर्वाणमृच्छति
ब्रह्मनिर्वाणमृच्छति
Hari Om, and a very good day to all of you. So in the last session, I was explaining to you the power of this word, Puman. The power is actually not in the word, but it is in the principle which the word represents. See, this is something which you need to understand. Per se, none of these words are powerful. What gives the power to words is the depth which the word is trying to convey. I am deliberately saying trying to convey because words are gross expressions. They can never communicate the real depth. Words are only tools through which you can go and grasp the principle, the deep principle which they represent. This is a law of life. See, when I say words, why I'm giving this principle now is because it's very much applicable in your life. So when I'm talking of words of these verses, now I'm also referring to all your expressions, your actions, your speech, your facial expressions, everything which you do externally, they don't mean anything per se. See, supposing you smile. Now, what is the power of a smile? If you smile merely from your lips, there is no depth, then that smile will not have any power. It cannot create the impact on the other person, nor will it help in self-purification. Supposing you talk, what is the power of your talk? It depends upon the depth from which you are talking. Whether you're smiling, whether you're, supposing let us say you make a mistake and you go and say sorry. If the depth of genuineness is not backing those that apology, then that will not have any power whatsoever. So everybody today is bothered about the expressions. See, there are seminars where they talk about how do you be successful in an interview. They say now you walk like this. This kind of walk shows confidence. This, you sit in this particular way. That shows that you're calm and collected. So like this, they give various tips. But all these have no meaning if you are not confident from inside. Yet the entire education system today is focused on changing the expressions. Even the expression of emotions, just because you wish a person happy birthday or you say a happy new year, now it means nothing. With what depth are you wishing? That is the question. Everything has become so mechanical today. See, when we talk of a Puman means a human being. Now, I did say Puman also refers to a man. We can extend it, and that is a gender, man or woman. Now that represents leading a mechanical life. Just because you're born in a particular way, you're put in a particular situation, you just mechanically do those things. So when it comes to all your expressions, when they don't have that depth, when they are very mechanical, that is of no use. Even the wishing, nowadays I find the people just say Happy New Year, Happy Diwali. Now those wishes actually don't mean anything. People don't mean anything when they say that. They are just excited about something superficially, and they just wish Happy New Year, Happy New Year. But do you really wish that the other person's life should change for the better this year? If you really mean that, then the words which you're speaking will have a purpose, will have the necessary power. So you observe in your life, that is Puman, I told you, first dimension is leading a mechanical life. Second dimension is being a human being. When is it that you become a human being? When you start choosing positive things. So here also the choice is there. That is, you express yourself, whether it's in speaking or acting, you express yourself mechanically. But the day you choose to act in a more deep way, then you're going into the second dimension of a human being, of the Puman, which means a human being. That is, you have started choosing what is positive. Now, why I am saying choosing the positive is because when a choice is given, now you can also choose the negative. When you choose the negative, quickly you will move away from being a human being, and you will start devolving. Whereas when you start choosing the positive, you will become more divine, godly. So it is worthwhile for you to examine your own life. How are your expressions? Do you really mean whatever you're saying? How are your actions? Do they have depth? Or are you doing them mechanically? The response which you get from the world is not for your actions, not for your expressions, but it is for the depth which you are giving. Even as you are listening to this, if you are listening to this in a superficial way, now you will receive a certain amount of wisdom, a certain amount of energy. But when you listen to this with a lot of devotion, with a lot of surrender, with that right bhavana, then what you will receive will be tremendous in terms of the wisdom, in terms of the energy. So whatever response you're getting back from the world is a result of what you are giving into the world. When you throw a ball at a wall, now that ball will rebound, it will come back to you. Now if you throw the ball with a lot of force, it will come back to you with a lot of force. When you throw it in a very gentle way, it will come back to you in a gentle way. The power there is not in merely the external action of throwing. It is the force with which you throw, the depth. So examine your behavior in life. When I say behavior, I mean your actions, your speech, your facial expressions, the tone of your speech. Examine everything. If required, you can take the help of someone who is very close to you, who is living with you. Could be your spouse or someone else. Now, you can always get a feedback from them. Ask them, because your expressions are stemming from a certain energy field which you are creating inside through your bhavana. And when another person says that this is what I'm feeling, now genuinely give it a thought and see whether that is happening within you, especially people who are very close to you. When they say that, no, we feel you are very lazy, for example. Now immediately don't become defensive and say, no, I'm not lazy, I'm working so many hours, that is why I was tired. And see, it is not all that. They may be reacting, they may be responding to the energy which you are exhibiting. So moving from the first dimension of being mechanical to start choosing the positive is a very powerful sadhana. It is important for you to start doing that. So when you're acting, when you're performing your work in your office, now are those actions mechanical, or are you having the depth while acting? The response which you get from your higher ups will be directly proportional to the depth of the bhavana which you are trying to express through your actions. So understand this very clearly. No one responds merely to your expressions. That is only an immediate response. That is a temporary response. If you smile, another person may smile at you. But if, let us say, you're having a wrong intention, you want to harm the other person. Now, that other person will also externally smile back, but they'll definitely feel uncomfortable. That is the real response. So everyone, this entire world, responds not merely to your expressions, but what you are truly trying to convey through your expressions. Sometimes you may act and your action may be in line with your emotion. Sometimes you may have a particular emotion and your action may be to cover up that emotion. You may be very lazy inside, but in order to impress the other person, you may act as if you're very active and dynamic. The other person will be able to sense that, even though they may not know the signs of the energy and the bhavana and all that, but everyone has this inherent capacity to sense things. So moving from the first dimension to the second dimension itself will prepare you so much, will cause a tremendous purification of your personality. And then you will start moving to the next dimension, which is the Puman means a soul. So you will start choosing the highest, which is the infinite. So today you are considering yourself to be this body, you are considering yourself to be this individual. But as a human being, when you start seeking the higher, that is called mumukshatva. Mumukshatva means the desire to liberate oneself, the desire to seek the infinite. So when you start seeking the infinite within, then you are tapping the third dimension of Puman. See, even when you're seeking God, as long as you're seeking God outside, it is an extroverted exercise. But the day you start realizing the presence of God, the presence of that supreme power within you, that is when your depth is increased. That is when you are becoming a true sadhak. Because even when it comes to spirituality, even when it comes to God, I find people are having very limited concepts, restrictive concepts. They think God is restricted to a particular place of worship or a particular environment. The divine actions means only certain type of actions. This is how they interpret things wrongly. But a true yogi, he starts feeling the presence of divinity inside, and when you start feeling the presence of the divine power inside, you will start feeling the presence of the divine power outside also, because it is with your mind that you interact with the world. So whatever you are experiencing inside, that will automatically get projected outside. It is an automatic process. And then comes the fourth dimension, which is Puman means a servant. So when you start feeling the presence of that infinite divine power everywhere, now you will become truly humble. When you don't recognize the infinite presence, you develop ego, which is what we'll be seeing later in this verse, where he says, function without ego, ni ahankaraha. When we come there, I'll explain in detail. So when you drop your ego, you start serving others automatically. And the converse is also true. When you start serving others, your ego will get melted. So serving others doesn't mean you have to do separate activities of service or anything. Whatever you're doing, you will start doing them in a spirit of service and sacrifice. If you're working in your office, now start thinking about the welfare of the company for which you're working. Start thinking in terms of the welfare of your clients. If you're a homemaker and you're cooking, now just bring that bhavana that everybody should eat this food and they should feel so happy. They should get that enjoyment. The moment you bring in that bhavana, then you're tapping that dimension of Puman. Instead of merely being a man or a woman mechanically, now your life becomes very purposeful. When you are interacting with your family members, think in terms of their happiness. Take the position of a giver. Externally, whether you give something or whether you take something, that is irrelevant. I am saying internally, always think in terms of the welfare of the other person. That is a very powerful sadhana. And right from now itself, if you start developing it, when we come to the third chapter, Karma Yoga, it will be so easy for you, because that is one of the key principles of Karma Yoga. So today even service has become very mechanical. Some people say, I have allotted this time for service-oriented activities. Service activities, they say. So that is a very limited concept of service. So during that time, what do? I go and give a bath to all the poor children. And gently I find such people always take cameras also. And as they are giving a bath, they ask someone to take a photograph. Next day they put it in their social media or somewhere they put it. This is an all not service. Service means thinking about the welfare of the other person. Every activity which you do, you can do it with the welfare of others in mind. Why? Because when you get connected with the soul, when you get connected with the infinite, I'm equating soul and infinite, because initially you may consider the soul to be limited, but as you do your sadhana and you expand yourself, slowly you will begin to experience that the soul which is there inside is actually infinite in nature, godly, divine. So when you start experiencing the divine soul, now you will also start experiencing the expressions of the divine soul. You will see the entire world as an expression of that supreme divinity. So whether it is nature, whether it is animals, whether it is birds, whether it is other human beings, whichever aspect of the world you take, they are all expressions of that one supreme divinity. So in that, what best can you do to serve others? In this context, even helping is not the right word, because when we say help, there is always a chance of developing an ego. I am superior and you are inferior and I am helping you. That is why he is using the word Puman. Puman means servant, being very, very humble. So if you go and, if you go to a master, a true master, you will always find that a true master will be extremely humble, naturally humble, not false humility. See, there also, if you're not careful, you may start being humble in a mechanical way. That is no use. A master is very, very humble naturally. That is simple. No, he doesn't put on any airs, He doesn't know to do that. That is why it's very difficult to understand a master. A master is like a newborn baby. See, if you take a newborn baby, there is no pretense. The baby doesn't know to pretend. The baby does not want to impress anyone. The baby does not know to manipulate. So a spiritually evolved yogi, a sthita prajna, is also like that. A sthita prajna is one who has expanded his or her soul consciousness to reach the full potential of a human being. And what is that full potential? It is becoming as innocent and pure as a newborn baby. So you can serve 100% when you are 100% pure. When you are pretending, when you are trying to impress, when you are trying to manipulate, to that extent, you cannot awaken this dimension of Puman. So as a sadhana, you should practice this. What is the practice? Not to keep manipulating, not to keep pretending what you are not to impress others, but just, have a pure motive. Shuddha bhavana. Shuddha bhavana means the pure motive. This is what the great Siddhas have always said. Develop Shuddha bhavana. Shuddha bhavana, in the sense, in each and everything which you do, develop that pure motive, pure intention. It is a lifetime practice. And the more you practice these dimensions of Puman, the more you will grow as a human being. From a mechanical person, your life will start improving. It will become more purposeful. Your consciousness will start expanding, and you will get connected to the infinite. And your personality will become so pure and resplendent like a newborn baby. And you will not want to harm anyone or anything. That is one aspect. And the other aspect is everything which you do will be stemming from this intense motive to serve others. That unconditional love will gush forth from you. Remember, if you do the sadhana properly, and if you develop unconditional love, there is no higher energy than unconditional love. We talk of the healing energy, Shaktis and all that, but the highest Shakti is that of unconditional love. And that is present right within you. You have not tapped it today. It is covered by the various impurities created by the ego. So sadhana is meant to release all those impurities. And as your impurities get released, the purity, the spiritual brilliance, the tejas, everything which is there from within will start shining forth. That is the true power which you have today as a human being. I have repeatedly been telling you, you don't know your worth. All your stress, all your agitations, they are all so petty, nothing when compared to what your true powers are, what you're truly worth. This is what Jesus Christ also said, the kingdom of heaven is within you. Lord Buddha also said this, look within. The entire message of the Bhagavad Gita is that only. You go to any master, he or she will say the same thing in different ways. The language may be different, the way it is put may be different, but the core message is one and only one, and that is you have all the wealth within you which is lying untapped. And it is your birthright as a human being, it is your birthright to gain access to the entire inner wealth which you have. So, Puman is such a powerful word, not that the word, the mere word is powerful, because of the principle which it represents. Every word which he is using in these verses, why are they so powerful? It is because of the principles which they represent. See, when we don't use the yogic approach, and if you just rush through these verses, then the same words are not so powerful. I'm sure all of you would have experienced that. If you read these verses on your own, or if you just, if you had come across a simple translation or just a few explanations here and there, now that is one level. But in the yogic approach, when we go deep into the principles which these words are representing, then the same words become so powerful. Now I want you to understand this point and practice it in your life. So just as these words have become so powerful to you when you increase the depth, similarly your entire life, that is all the expressions of your life, will become so powerful when you increase your depth. And the depth comes only through sadhana, spiritual practice. Every day, do your sadhana, do the yoga sankirtan. So, Puman, that human being, Yaha Puman, means that human being, that person. We have translated it as person. Now you know the depth behind it, That Puman, whoever it may be, having abandoned all desires, moves about without craving, Nisprihaha, without the sense of mindness, Nirmamaha, and without ego, Nirahankaraha, he attains peace. Now, who having abandoned all desires? Now I will explain that this in a slightly different way. He says Vihaya Kaman Yah Sarvan, that is Sarvan Kaman Vihaya, all the desires have been abandoned, the uncontrolled desires have been abandoned, which means he has gained perfect mastery over the desires. The desires have been converted from kamaha to ichcha, the willful desires. So we'll come to that point later, but first of all, if you can focus on this word, sarvan. He says sarvan kaman. If you really think about it, even without the word sarvan, if you just say vihaya kaman, one who has abandoned all the desires, which the uncontrolled desires, which means he has gained the control, the mastery over the desires. Now such a person will attain peace. That itself looks complete. Now why has he introduced this word sarvan there? It has a very powerful meaning from a sadhana point of view. So when he uses the word sarvan, all, now whatever that practice is, vihaya kaman, I will explain later. As of now, you can understand that he is asking the sadhak to do something. But that something has to be sarvan, means that has to be done fully. Sarvan means in its entirety, all. Not leaving even one aspect. It has to be complete. What exactly he means by vihaya and vihaya kaman, that is another gold mine. We'll be seeing that. But first you should absorb the energy behind this word sarvan. See, I am covering this verse in such a way, like first we saw yaha and saha, then we saw puman. Now I am bringing your attention to this word sarvan. Now like this, when we study this, it will increase your inner powers, because as you are trying to absorb this energy and practice them, your personality will have to get transformed. It will become much easy for you to practice the other things which he is giving, because they are a little more subtle. So what is the power of sarvan? Sarvan means everything, all. So what does sarvan represent from a sadhana point of view? The uncompromising attitude. So when we talked of puman, who is the person who will be able to tap all the dimensions of that word puman and become a sthita prajna? That person who has an uncompromising attitude, who develops the habit of doing things in a complete way, not in a half-hearted way. See, generally the mind has the weakness of compromising. You compromise in two ways. Either you compromise with respect to the quality of your actions, or you leave actions without completing, that is compromising with respect to the quantity of actions. So when he says sarvan, all, he means there is no room for compromise in terms of quality and quantity. See, what do we mean by quality and quantity? When you are performing any action, Now, the mind always has this weakness of not giving your 100% to whatever you're doing. It tries to distract you, your mind tries to distract you, and it may pose many questions like, what is the use of all this which you're doing? Nobody is watching you, then why not you do it casually? Casually means, why don't you compromise on the quality? So the mind always spins various justifications for you to compromise on the quality. That is the weakness which you should avoid. And then when it comes to quantity, again the mind has the weakness to leave things incomplete and move to other actions. See, the mind never likes to complete things. It likes to jump from one place to another. That is why the mind is called Astira and Chanchala. Astira means moving from place to place. Chanchala means moving within a place. So the mind's nature is like a monkey. It keeps moving here and there. So when you are performing a particular task, to stay with that and complete it, that itself is a sadhana. It requires a lot of discipline. It requires a lot of patience. But the mind wants to jump to the next actions. Though you see the great achievers in life, in any field, with respect to that field, they would have practiced the sadhana of sarvan. Whether they call it by this terminology, or whether they are conscious of what they are practicing or not, is a different matter. But they would be applying these two aspects of sarvan in that field. That is, number one, whatever actions they do, they will complete them fully. They will finish them. And all those actions put together is what will would have given them that desired result. And number two, they'll be doing it with a lot of passion, sincerity. The quality of those actions would be tremendous. That is, they will give their heart and soul into whatever they are doing. So these two qualities put together can help you to achieve whatever goal you fix. See, the aim of all these verses, the aim of these Sunday lectures is to increase the power in your life, to make you a powerful person, to help you materialize your goals, to help you live a fulfilled life materially, and also help you grow spiritually and become one with the infinite. So all these aspects which are being covered in these verses are aimed towards transforming your life only. So this is one such principle. Long back, when I say long back, I'm putting the clock by almost 30 years. Now, I was in Delhi, and a company had organized a seminar, in-house program on overcoming stress for their senior managers, and the CEO was also there. The CEO was a person who took the initiative and invited me. So I said, fine, we will have that. We had several sessions. So what was interesting is he came to pick me up, and he said, sir, before going to our conference room. I just want to take you around, my if you can just see my factory, if it's not a strain for you. I said, no, it will be quite nice to see what you're doing. So he took me. And what was interesting is, as we were walking around, there was a person, the production head. He was having certain metal pieces. They were into manufacturing certain things, and this person was, so the CEO just casually, he just asked him, so what are you looking at? To which the production person told him that, sir, this particular piece has a small defect. It's not a defect, it just it's a small scratch it has. So the CEO asked him, where does this part come in the machine? He said, it is hidden inside, and nobody will ever come to know of this. So the CEO asked him, so what are you going to do about it? That is what I'm thinking. Since nobody is going to come to know about this, why not we use it? So immediately the CEO, he told his production manager, no, you try to repaint it and remove, make it proper, or it is better you don't use it. Don't look at the immediate loss. So to which the production manager asked him, sir, but nobody will ever know this. So what is the problem? He said, it is not a question of others knowing it. But what I am concerned about is the tendency in your mind to compromise on the quality. Now, once you encourage that thought, and if I also say yes, it is a question of time. We will start compromising in various other facets of our business also. And in the long run, this will become a block as far as our growth is concerned. It was a very good lesson which he was teaching that production manager. He also understood immediately. And then the CEO turned to me and he asked me, sir, please correct me if I am wrong. Isn't this the right principle which I am following? And see, he had the humility. In front of his production manager, he is asking me whether, you can correct me if I am wrong. That is why he was at that level. I told him, excellent, you're already practicing this. That is why they were number one in that particular product, So like this you see in any field, whether it is music or dance or whatever be the field, business. In any field, a person who does not compromise on the quality and quantity, such a person will be an achiever. So never ever complain in life that I have given my best but I am not getting the results. See, when you say I am giving my best, what is that best? You have to define. Now you split up your actions. See whether you're uncompromising in terms of the quality, and see whether you are uncompromising in terms of completing your tasks. Both these are so crucial to succeed in life. And when I say life, I mean the external life and the spiritual life also. Whether you want to succeed externally or whether you want to succeed internally and become a Siddha Prajna, the principles are one and the same. So when it comes to sadhana, are you compromising on the quality? Number one. Are you compromising on the quantity? Are you doing it every day sincerely? If you are, then nobody can stop you from progressing spiritually. You will automatically attract the Guru Shakti. The Guru will have to guide you. Whether you are physically in touch with the Guru or not, all these things do not matter. Energy wise, automatically it has to start flowing from the Guru to such a student. So in many of the scriptures, right at the outset, they always give the qualifications of who can absorb the deeper import of this particular scripture. And if you look through those principles, you will find that this is if you look through those qualities, you will find that this is the principle based on which they will be mentioning those qualities. That is an uncompromising attitude with respect to the quality and quantity. Sarvan. Kaman Vihaya we will see. But first the Sarvan. So right from this moment onwards, in every aspect of your life, start increasing this, start increasing this quality of not compromising. Start increasing the depth. So you observe your own conversations. Generally you will not complete your conversations. Midway you will stop and you will move to something else. That is not a good habit. If you want to be a powerful personality, you should also become a powerful communicator. And you can become a communicator only if you learn these simple principles and if you start practicing. So whether it is a speech, whether it is your actions, practice this Sarvan, no room for compromising. And when you always practice this, where you don't compromise at all, then which means you go for the best. One day you will be faced with a choice. Do I need to choose the finite or do I need to choose the infinite? At that time, you will not compromise. You will choose the infinite and you will become a Sthita Prajna. But if you are giving room to the mind, to the weakness of this mind, to compromise, when that choice comes before you, is it the finite or infinite, you will compromise and choose the finite. So it is easy to say, I want the best. But yaha saha, are you qualified for that? The more you qualify yourself, you don't need to ask for the best. The best of things will automatically get attracted to you. I told you this entire verse is actually reflected in that phrase yaha and saha. So the whole verse is talking about the qualifications only. That is why I covered the yaha and saha in such depth. Almost 2 or 3 sessions we had. With that deep understanding, not only Sarvan, as we move along, every aspect will be so easy for you to grasp. So I'll give you some examples. See, just as I told you about the CEO, see, you should learn from everyone. This capacity to learn from everyone itself is an aspect of Sarvan. If you say, I learn only from this person, I will not learn from this person, you are putting a block. So, how do you practice this Sarvan? First of all, look at your life and examine what you're doing. what is the role, what are the various roles which you're playing in your life. So you may be a homemaker, you may be a business person, you may be an accountant, you may be a painter, you may be a singer. So what roles are you playing? Then you may be a parent, you may be a son or daughter to your parents. So what are the different roles which I am playing? So in those roles, what are my actions? Now in those actions, start practicing the sarvan. When you are interacting with your kids, for example, as a parent, now ensure that it is quality time which you spend with them. And when you have decided to spend time with them, use that fully. Don't leave it incomplete. Similarly, as a homemaker, you're cooking. Let the quality be the highest and complete the actions. Learn to complete. Today, you put a list of those tasks which you have kept on postponing. It could be very, very small tasks like cleaning my shelf. But why is it that you are postponing? Because you have the tendency to compromise on quantity. Either it will be compromise on quantity or it will be compromise on quality. So apply the sadhana of sarvan there. So this is your sadhana tip today. Make a list of all the unfinished tasks which you are having. And one by one start completing them. And then once you complete, strike that activity off. Just observe what is happening to your mind. See, do this very consciously. Don't do it in a mechanical way. Now, when you complete an unfinished task, however small that task is, the sense of fulfillment which you get from within, that cannot be quantified. You will train your mind to go to the end of something. That quality is called Shraddha. If you want to practice this sadhana of sarvan, you need to develop the Shraddha. Shraddha means the consistency and the ability to complete something which you have started. Not leaving things halfway. And if you start completing things, automatically you will become more responsible in life, and others will also get inspired by you. But that is incidental. Your focus is not on getting recognition, should not be on getting recognition from others. Your focus is to produce quality work in terms that is to have the uncompromising attitude with respect to the quality of your work, and also complete all the tasks which are necessary and not go on postponing. So start practicing it right from this moment. And you will be amazed at the kind of results which the simple sadhana of sarvan can give you. Of course, the application of sarvan with respect to vihaya kaman, we will see when I am explaining to you about that practice. But first, per se, the word sarvan is so powerful. So that person, I'm skipping who having abandoned the desire, that person, yaha puman sarvan, one who has an uncompromising approach in life. Now tell me, we don't need to, I don't need to complete it. You yourself can complete it. A person who has tapped the infinite potential of being a human being, who has an uncompromising approach in life, dash dash, that person will attain peace. He's saying will attain peace, will get everything in life. See, he is valuing peace as the highest because that is the ultimate goal. But when you see, if you're getting the highest, it means even everything below that is also something which you're going to get. So will you practice this the sadhana of Sarvan today? When I say will you practice this today, it means will you start the practice today? These are all principles which you need to practice throughout your life. So Sarvan, now Vihaya Kaman we will come later. Now Pumans Charati. Charati is the next word which I want you to focus on. Charati means moves about. Translated as moves about, but it has many dimensions. I will give you several dimensions of this word charati, and you will be amazed at how powerful the word charati is. So a person who has an uncompromising approach and then he moves about in the world, now what kind of impact will that person create? I want you to visualize that. See, first you need to visualize this externally, and then you should start visualizing this internally. That is, you are that person. There, he is not talking about some person who is unconnected to you. He is talking about you only. See, this visualizing yourself as this person, it's a very powerful yogic technique. When the mind starts visualizing a concept, that is when it starts giving form and shape to a particular quality or concept, then it is very easy to absorb it. You will start living it soon. See, when we are, for example, if we are talking about cheer, now one thing is to study about the cheer as a concept, but if you can visualize cheer as someone who is laughing, who's feeling so happy from inside, and that is the first step. The second step of visualizing is now putting yourself in that position. Who is that person who is laughing and who is happy? It is you only. So when you start visualizing cheer in that way, now it is a question of time, you will start becoming cheerful. Unfortunately, this principle of visualization is not taught in the schools and universities. So even though people are getting educated, they are not learning these basic principles which can really transform their lives. So they don't master this simple principle of visualization. In this context, this is one aspect of visualization, that is picturizing the concept first externally and then internalizing it, putting yourself as that person. So it is a good sadhana if you can just picturize. Charati means moving about, one who is functioning in the world, not one who escapes from the world. See, the moment we talk of a spiritual person, what do you picturize today? You picturize a person who has given up everything and who is a recluse. Now, here he is trying to smash that concept, wrong concept which you're having, because it's so important. In the very next chapter, he's going to talk of Karma Yoga. And if your very picturization of a Sthita Prajna is one who has left the world, then how are you going to practice the principles of Karma Yoga? So today, when I say picturize a yogi or picturize a spiritual person, whom would you picturize? Someone who is sitting in the forest, who has left the world, who has left the normal life, I'm putting that in quotes, and who is leading a life of a recluse. Now, charati means the opposite of that. One who is very much functioning in the world, who is facing all the ups and downs of life, all the challenges of life, who is experiencing the different aspects of the world, who is living life in a complete way. That is why I took Sarvan first. Sarvan means the sense of completeness, no compromise. So when you apply Sarvan, the principle of Sarvan to charati, you will understand the true meaning. Charati means living life in a full way. So first you should picturize that a Sthita Prajna is one who lives a complete life, who doesn't compromise on anything. This is the most difficult part, because right from early childhood, your subconscious mind has been fed with these wrong concepts that spirituality means giving up. A spiritual person means one who gives up everything. Yes, there were a few people who may have chosen to stay away from certain aspects of life because they took up the work of healing and doing the research, the internal research and all that. It is like a scientist who isolates himself or herself and who works in the laboratory. But that doesn't mean everyone has to do that, or unless you do that, you cannot be spiritual. So in the Bhagavad Gita, he is trying to remove that concept from your mind, which is not so easy, because you have deep impressions, and those impressions will come out as visuals when you close your eyes. So I would suggest you can practice this also today. Just close your eyes and imagine a spiritually developed yogi, a spiritually developed person. And the moment you close your eyes and you will visualize a person who has moved away from life. You cannot you cannot imagine a person who is right in the world and going through the various experiences of life as a spiritual person. So when Sukhamuni, he was a son of Vedavyasa, when he asked his father to teach him, his father saw that Sukhamuni had a little bit of ego, that my father is a great Vyasa. So he wanted to remove that ego from his son. So he said, no, I'm not going to teach you now. You go and learn from King Janaka. King Janaka was a realized soul. Now that was a very big thing for Sukhamuni, because he thought, see, I am a recluse, I am a sannyasi, I have given up everything. Now here Janaka is a king. He is caught up with materiality. What can he teach me? This was the block which he was having. So that is why actually Vyasa sent Sukhamuni to King Janaka, because he can remove those blocks Of course, King Janaka had his own way of removing the blocks from Sukamuni's mind. That part of it, I'm not going into it today fully. Probably the future, I'll explain that. But the first block was he thought Janaka is living in the world, whereas I am living in the forest. Now what can he teach me? How can he be a spiritual master? This was the ego block which he had. And Janaka took his time to smash that block first. That is when Sukamuni truly started advancing in the inner path of spirituality. So, I want you to do this exercise today when you get some spare time. That is, if you can try to form a picture of a person, of someone who is living life fully with an uncompromising attitude. The approach is perfect, giving the best in everything, perfect in quality and perfect in terms of quantity, who does all the duties to perfection. If you can just visualize a person like that, then as we move further, I'll tell you how to now personalize it and how to put yourself in that position. That is the next step. So this visualization will be a little difficult for you, because you can visualize generally a person who is functioning in the world. But for you to visualize a sthita prajna, a spiritually developed person as a person who is living in the world, is the key there. So Sarvan and Charati, instead of stopping with merely absorbing the message behind that as a concept, now if you can give shape to that, if you can visualize this in a person, it will help you so much in absorbing the energy behind these words. Okay, so do this sadhana. Next week we will expand on this. The Charati, I'll give you many dimensions to Charati. There are many dimensions. I'll give you at least 5 to 6 dimensions. And when you put all of them together, your visualization will start becoming more powerful. That is why it is very important for you to practice the simple sadhana which I have given you of visualizing in your way. And then next week, as I am going to add more elements to it, your visualization will start improving. Visualization of a sthita prajna. And the more you are able to visualize a sthita prajna, you will start getting transformed from within. That is the key. Okay, so before we do today's meditation, I will take up a question. This question has been asked by Usha Shinoy. Usha ji has asked this, she has put it in the YouTube section. So, Namaste Guruji. Thank you again for the inspiring lecture. I was really happy since you coincidentally emphasized the principle of purification of bhavana, which I had decided to focus on personally as a part of my journey. It is not only to her, but with respect to all the other sadhaks also. Nothing is coincidental. When you are seeking something from your heart, you will find that the infinite will arrange things in such a way that your teacher will also help you in that aspect. It all depends upon how sincerely you are trying to seek. So it may look like a coincidence, but it is all cause and effect. So then she has explained the various points which she had absorbed from the session. I'm not reading them. So now I'm coming to the question part. I have a small question with respect to the previous lecture where you mentioned the need for consistent efforts and surrender to the Guru Shakti as crucial requisites in this path. So how can I identify if my efforts are sufficient and my surrender complete? With sincere gratitude, Usha. Actually, you don't need to worry about the bhavana because your bhavana is already wonderful. You know, the energy which is being emitted from the question is so nice. See, I always go by the energy with which you ask, not per se what you're asking. But since you've asked this, I'll explain. With respect to the sincerity in bhavana and surrender to the Guru Shakti, two principles you have given. You're asking, how do I know whether I'm having it 100%? What are the ways by which I can gauge? Now, it is not only with respect to these two principles, with respect to all the principles which are being given, the best approach would be never to feel that, yes, I have given 100%. See, this principle was given by Bhagavan Dattatreya. Dattatreya was the incarnation of Brahma, Vishnu and Shiva. He was a very, very powerful Siddha. He was a king of all the Siddhas, Now, he gave this principle, be an eternal student, Nitya Shishya. Now, what does it mean by being an eternal student? Never ever feeling that you have learnt everything. Never ever feeling that you have practiced everything. Always looking for growth. A student is one who always wants to learn and grow. So, this is a very powerful principle. The moment you feel, I have 100% full bhavana. Let's take the examples which you have given. You have talked of one is consistent effort and the surrender to the Guru, right? So the moment you feel, I have put 100% of my efforts or I have surrendered 100% to my Guru, the Guru Shakti, now your progress will stop there. The beauty of this path is that it is infinite. The goal is also infinite. The path is also infinite. So the more you get into the spirit of being a student, the more you will grow. So even though we are talking of Sthita Prajna as the final goal, final state, actually the Sthita Prajna is nothing but a state of infinite growth. So the more efforts you put in consistently, you should always feel, I need to put in more. The more you surrender to your Guru, you should always feel, yes, I need to surrender more. That is what is the meaning of being a Nitya Shishya. Bhagavan Dattatreya himself demonstrated that in his life. Even though he was such a great avatar, he was very humble, he was a Nitya Shishya, he always went on learning. Very interesting. So the very feeling of incompleteness when it comes to sadhana will propel you to move to the next level. So when will this finish? that desire of wanting it to finish itself will be a block. That is what Dattatreya is saying. Remove the desire of 100% completion, even though for argument's sake we may say 100% and all that. 100% means the infinite. Infinite means never ending. So the goal is also infinite, the path is also infinite. It is said, Hari Ananta, Hari Katha Ananta. Hari means the infinite. The God is also infinite. Hari Katha, the stories about God are also infinite. That the stories mean not, Katha mean not merely stories. The sadhana, the various sadhanas, So the goal is also infinite, the path is also infinite. So right from the first step, if you absorb this principle of being an eternal student, you will go on improving day by day. So no need to worry whether I am having sufficient bhavana or not. The fact that you are asking that itself means your bhavana is very good. But go on trying to improve. Never compromise. That's the meaning of sarvan, Sarvan doesn't mean completing. It is always trying to achieve completion, because externally 100% completion is never possible. So it is a wonderful question because it is given the opportunity for us to explore this deeper principle of being an eternal student. So a true master, a guru, never considers himself to be a guru. That is the most interesting part. Others may call him a guru. Sometimes he may refer to himself. He may say, I am your guru and all. But truly speaking, deep within him, he only considers himself as a student of life, as a student of the infinite. And believe me, this the infinite is infinite in every way. When we talk of the goal, it is the infinite. When we talk of the path, it is infinite. There are infinite things to be learnt. The very sadhana itself is an infinite science of spirituality. The more we learn, the more we feel we have to learn. And that is the enjoyment. The enjoyment is not in learning everything fully. The enjoyment is in the continuous process of learning, is in the continuous process of doing sadhana, of surrendering, of putting in efforts, of being devoted to, and surrendering to the Guru. Everything, it is an infinite process. So you had asked me for guidelines. How do we know whether it's complete? Now I have given you the deeper principle because you are ready to absorb that. And even others, you can make a note of this. Okay? So now we'll do the meditation. Sit in a comfortable position. Gently close your eyes. Breathe deeply. With every breath, I am becoming more and more relaxed. with every breath, I am becoming more and more divine. With every breath, I am going deep into myself. I am not this body. I am not these various emotions. I am not these thoughts. I am one with that infinite divine principle. From this moment onwards, I choose to develop an uncompromising approach to each and everything which I do in my life. I choose to practice the sadhana of Sarvan, not compromising on the quality and the quantity in all the aspects of my life. I am Swayam Prakashit, self-illuminating. Offer your gratitude to God Supreme. Offer your gratitude to your Guru and all the holy masters. Slowly come back. Wriggle your fingers, your toes, rub your palms together to create a warmth. Cup your eyes with your palms. Gently rub your eyes, cheeks, forehead, top of the head, back of the head and neck. Slowly open your eyes. Welcome back. So today I had given you the subtler aspects of Puman and this powerful principle of Sarvan, the uncompromising attitude. If you want to develop spiritually, if you want to bring about a positive change in every aspect of your life, practice the sadhana of Sarvan. You practice it and see the results for yourself. And also do the simple sadhana of visualization, external visualization, which I had given you, and come back in the next session, because in the next session I'll be expanding on this word charati. You will find it amazing. You'll be in a better position to receive the energy of that if you do the small exercise this week and come back. And then we will be going into the other aspects. It's easy to cover all these just like that, but the effort being made here using the yogic approach is in maximizing the chances of your internal absorption. So when it comes to Jnana Yoga, our emphasis is never on covering more texts or more verses, but our emphasis is on absorbing maximum. That is what we're trying to do. Okay? So thank you very much. I'll see you in the next session. Hari Om.